Welcome back, everybody, to another video in this JavaScript series. So we've been talking about a lot of the different introductory concepts of JavaScript, and one of the very important topics is strings. And I mentioned before that a string is essentially any text that we have. So for example, if I have down here, we could say let my name equal Tim Fisher. So this is a string. And I can define even the same string in a couple different ways. I can do it like that with double quotes. I can also say let my name 2 is equal to single quotes, Tim Fisher. I can also say let my name 3 is, let's spell it right, my name 3 is equal to, and then if I use the backticks, which is the key just to the left of the 1 and just below the escape. If I do that, I can also write this in here. And we said the top two, these are more or less identical in JavaScript, meaning I can't put special characters and I can't put variable names in here or JavaScript expressions. But if I have double quotes, I can put, if I needed to put like an apostrophe or something, which is also known as a single quote, I can put a single quote inside my double quotes, and inside the single quotes, I can also put double quotes. What I can't do is come inside of double quotes and put another set of double quotes, because that'll think that it's ended my string. If I want to put double quotes inside of my double quote string, I can actually escape that character using the backslash like that. Same thing down here. If we wanted to put a single quote inside of here, I would have to escape it. And now if I were, and what I mean by escape it, so if I was actually to print this one here, or even this one down in my log, so I put that in my console.log, and now if I save that, you can see even though I have the slash in that name, it doesn't print out. So the slash is just indicating, and the reason why that's yellow instead of the burnt orange like the rest of it is because this slash is indicating that this is actually a special character, meaning it's a quote that we want to put inside of our other quotes. So if you want to put quotes inside of quotes that are the same type, you have to put a backslash in front of that. And then we also said down here, we said in the string template, the special thing with that is we can actually put JavaScript expressions inside of there. So if I put it with a $sign and then these squiggly braces, if I type like my name, for example, and now if down here I console log my name 3, you can see I get Tim's name is Tim Fisher. So I can really add whatever I want in there, and I can make that look however I want. If in here I want to store a path name, so I could say const file path is equal to c:/ and then, I don't know, temp / file.jpg. So this is not going to work. And the reason this is not going to work, you can probably guess here. Just like we use this backslash up above to escape our quotes, well, now this thinks that we're trying to escape our T. So if you want to use a backslash actually as a backslash inside strings, you have to put double backslashes. And if I go ahead and print this out, so console.log, if I print this out, you'll see that in the actual string, I only get one backslash, because essentially what I'm doing here with my double backslashes is I'm just escaping my backslash so that this knows to interpret this as a backslash character rather than a backslash that's trying to escape the next character. Another thing that you can do with strings is you can get their length. So if I come here and say console.log, and inside here in a string template, I say my name is, and then here, if I do my $sign in brackets, and then I say my name dot length. So my name is X characters long. And if I save that, you can see now my name is 11 characters long. And if we count this, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, including that space on the end. If I wanted to store a string on multiple lines, so I could say const multiple line string is equal to, and then if I open quotes here and say, this is my multiple line string. So this actually is not going to work. You can't do it like this, where you have a double quote opening on the top line and then ending on the second line. Instead, what you need to do is close your quotes on the top line, put a plus, and then open the quotes on the second line again. So if I do it like this, that will work. So if I say console.log, and then we log our multiple line string here, you can see this is my multiple line string. And as you can tell, in the console, it actually is only one line, but here it's stored on two different lines because, again, what this plus sign here is doing is it's concatenating this string with that string, and there's not actually a second line here. If I were to come down here and say \n and now save this, now you see that actually goes onto two lines. So just like we escaped a backslash up here with another backslash, and we escaped a single quote with a backslash, if you escape an end character with a backslash, that is going to be our new line character in JavaScript. So if I put \ns in here, let's say I did that 2 more times, save that, you can see now I have 2 more blank lines there. So the \n is going to be used for a new line character. And another way that I can do a multiple line string without doing \ns is by using a string template. So if I come down here and say const multiple line string 2, and this is equal to backticks, and then I say this is also a multiple line string. Let's see. And now let's go ahead and log that one as well. Console.log multiple line string 2. And you can see that this is also a multiple line string, and we did that without using any \ns or return characters. And that's because when I hit enter and I'm inside of the backticks, because this is a string literal, it's going to literally read that enter as a return character, whereas up here, where I'm closing my string and then opening it up again on the next line, it's not going to read this enter here as a return character. So hopefully that makes sense to you here. Another thing that you can do is you can actually save a string as an object. So if I come down here and say const, let's see, student name is equal to Bob. And then on the next line, let's make a Bob as an object here. So const student name 2 is equal to, and if in here I say new string, and then inside of the quotes I say Bob. Now if I come down here and say console.log, and we log student name, and let's log student name 2 as well. So if I save that, you can see I get Bob on the first line, and then on the second line I get string, and then inside of my curly brackets Bob. And if I open that up, you see that this is actually it's like essentially a character, right, where B is at index 0 and then O is at index 1 and so on. But let's just to show you the difference between your string Bob and then your new string object Bob. Let's go ahead and check this. So if I type console.log, and I can say student name equals student name 2. So if I put that in my quotes, and I'm obviously, this is a string here inside of the quotes, I'm just going to put that so I know what I'm doing on this line. Now, after that, if I do comma and then run that expression, so I have student name double equal to student name 2, And then we can save that file, and you can see that this is true because obviously Bob in double quotes is equal to Bob in double quotes. But if I were to copy this line and now change this to our strict equality operator, which is the triple equal sign, and now if I save that, you can see that this is false. So even though this student name is Bob and then student name 2 is Bob, it's the same data, but if you'll remember from a previous lesson, we said this triple equal sign is our strict equality operator. And for that to be true, for that to evaluate to true, then the first object's data and type has to match the second object's data and type. So to show you here why that one's coming back false, I'll say console.log, and then we can say student name, comma, type of student name, and then console.log student name 2, and then type of student name 2. Now, if I save that, you can see the first one is a string, and then my second one is an object. So even though they have the same string, Bob, one of them has an object and one of them is stored as a string. So because of that, your double equal sign will evaluate to true, while your triple equal, your strict equality operator, is going to evaluate to false. So we talked about concatenating strings. So to do that, I can just say const my concat is equal to ABC plus 1, 2, 3. So that will give us ABC 1, 2, 3 all smashed together. So if I say console.log, and then inside of the log, I say my concat, save that, you can see we get ABC 1, 2, 3. If I were to come down here, there's actually another way that we can concatenate strings, and we can do that with our concat function. So if I say const my concat 2 is equal to ABC dot concat, now whatever I put inside of these parentheses is going to be concatenated to ABC. So if I say my concat, and even I can do multiple things in here, 4, 5, 6, or 3, 4, let's see, 4, 5, 6. So now if I were to save that, actually, let's go ahead and console log that as well. Console.log my concat 2. Now you can see on my concat, I get ABC 1, 2, 3. And then on my concat 2, I get ABC, and then also ABC 1, 2, 3, which is coming from my concat, and then 4, 5, 6, which is coming from there. Now, another way I could do this, obviously, is I could also stick these all together using a string template with the backticks as well. Another thing I'll mention down here, if I have another string called const alphabet, and let's just set that equal to A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, I guess I'll just finish. Okay, so here's our alphabet, and this is all lowercase right now, but if I want to convert that to uppercase, I can do that with this. So console.log, and I could say alphabet.to uppercase. Now, and of course, you can't just do .to uppercase. You have to do the blank, the empty parentheses after that, because that tells it that you want to actually run this function. So now if I save that, you can see, even though I have it saved in all lowercase here, it appears in all uppercase here, and vice versa. If I have const upper equals ABC, if I want that to be lowercase, I can say console.log, and then in here I can say upper.to lowercase, again with the empty parentheses on the end. And now if I save that, you see, again, even though I have capital ABC, it comes up as lowercase ABC over here. I can also check if my strings end with something. So if I say let's just say console.log, And then I could say alphabet dot ends with, and if here inside of these parentheses I say XYZ and then save that, you can see I get true because my alphabet does in fact end in XYZ. If I were to copy that line and now instead of ends with, say starts with, and save that, I get false because obviously my alphabet does not start with XYZ. And if I were to keep going with that, I can show you this also. There's also one called includes, meaning even if this is not XYZ, if this is JK, now I save that, that's going to be true. But if this is JOK, well, now this is false. And basically what this does is if this string inside the parentheses exists anywhere inside of the string I'm testing, in this case alphabet, then that will return true. Otherwise, that will return false. I can also split a string. So if I say console.log, actually, let me do it like this. We're going to say const split alphabet is equal to alphabet dot split. And here, I need to tell it what character I want to split on. So let's say I want to split on my M. And then after that, we have, let's see, I can say console.log split alphabet. So now if I save that, you could see here at the bottom here that I've got this split alphabet, and the first half of it is A through L, and then the second half of it is N through Z. So this is actually an array. If I wanted to reference just 0 or 1, I could do that like this. If I say console.log split alphabet, and then inside of my square brackets, I put my 1. So here's that string inside of that array. But basically what's going on here is it's going to split your string on the letter M, right? And in this case, I only have one M, so it gives me an array with 2 different elements inside of it. And you'll notice that it ends at L and then picks up at N. So the character that we split on was actually removed from the string entirely. That's gone. So there is no M in the final result. But if I were to come in here and put a few more M's in this alphabet, just to check, and then save that, now you can see it's split in all of those different places where I had an M, it's split into an array. So this is really helpful when you're parsing data, like if you have a comma separated list or something like that. And then finally, let's look at our substring. So if I say const let's say numbers equals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, now after that, if I want to print just a subsection of that string, I can do that with console.log. And then in here, if I say numbers dot substring, and then basically what I need to hand it is the starting index that I want and the ending index that I want. So if I say 3, 7, and now save that file, now you can see I get 4, 5, 6, 7. And the reason for that is just like in an array where we start counting at 0, so your first index in an array is 0, in a string also your first index is going to be 0. So in this case, we have the string 1 through 9. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And we said that we wanted, what did I do in that substring? I said I want 3 to 7. So if we look back at our string here, we've got, this is index 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So if I'm going to do 3 all the way, if I'm going to start at index 3, that's going to be this one, which is a 4. And if I'm going to end at index 7, that's going to be this one, which is our 8. But you will, of course, notice, obviously, we have 4, 5, 6, 7 written down here. But I just told you we started at 3 and we went to 7. And the reason for that is that this number that we're passing into the substring, so in this case 3 and 7, it doesn't mean take this index 3 all the way through this index 7. What it means is start at index 3. So we're going to start right here before index 3, and then we're going to end right before the 7th index, which is why we only get 4, 5, 6, and 7, and we don't get this number here, 8, because essentially we're going to draw a line starting before the 3rd index and then starting before the 3rd index and then before the 7th index, and then this in the middle, in between those two, is going to be the string that's returned. We can also do a substring if we only pass in one number here and save that. It'll only pull the beginning part off of the string. So in this case, it took the first 3 characters off of the string. Another method that's very, very similar to this, if I just copy those and let me change this from substring to slice, and then this one as well to slice. And if I save that, you'll see we actually get the same exact output here. The only difference between substring and slice, at least the only one that I'm aware of, is the way that they treat negative indexes. So for example, if I come up to this substring and instead of doing 3 to 7, if I do -2 to 7, and now save that, basically it's going to treat this -2 as if it's 0 because we don't have a -2 index. But if I were to come down into my slice and change this to -2 to 7, all of a sudden this stops working entirely and I get just blank. And the reason for that is in a substring function, a negative number is going to be interpreted as 0, whereas in a slice function, a negative number is going to be interpreted as that many indexes from the back of, or from the last index. So if I change this to 2, and then instead of 7, I say -2, and then save that, now you can see I get 2 indexes in, so we skipped 1 and 2 and started at 3, and then 2 indexes from the back, so we cut 8 and 9 off the back, right? So if I change this to 4, then 6 and 7 will disappear as well. So basically, in a slice, the negative index is going to be that many positions from the last index, whereas in a substring, a negative index is going to be essentially interpreted as a 0. If in a substring I wanted to get like -2 indexes from the last, then what I would have to do is I would have to say numbers.length -2. And then if I save that, that will give us that same thing. But that is going to be just a little more complicated than we want to do. And this can be a lot to type up. So if you need to do that for any reason, slice is definitely the function that you want to do. So hopefully this little overview of strings in JavaScript has been helpful for you. Leave any comments or questions down in the comment section below. Read the reference material that I put down in the description of this video, and we will see you in the next video.